I don't know who I came to talk to today, but I feel a stirring in my spirit. Somebody in this room has been wounded, betrayed, talked about, lied on, misunderstood, used, and just when you thought you could breathe again, the hurt came back like a knife in the same old spot. But before you let your emotions rise, before you clap back, before you pick up your phone and text something you can't take back, hear me clearly. You don't have to react, because your reaction might cost you more than the offense ever did. I know it hurts. I know you feel like proving a point. I know you want to show them they mess with the wrong one. But child of God, I stopped by to tell you, you don't need revenge to be validated. You don't need applause to be healed. And you don't need a reaction to win. Sometimes silence is the authority God gave you and into the trap they laid for you. Some of you are exhausted, not because of your work, not because of your responsibilities, but because you are constantly reacting to people who were never assigned to your life in the first place. You're replying to words that didn't deserve your breath. You're carrying offenses that should have rolled off your back. And every time you respond to the enemy's bait, you give them a seat at a table they don't deserve to sit at. That's how the enemy operates. He doesn't come to knock you down with a hammer. He comes to distract you with a whisper. It's subtle. A jab here, a look there, a betrayal from someone close, a conversation twisted, a comment on your post. And before you know it, your whole day, your whole mind, your whole mood is shaped by something small, something petty, because you gave it power. Listen to me. Your power is too precious to be handed out that cheap. Don't give it away to every critic, every hater, every snake hiding in your garden. They didn't plant the seeds. They don't get to prune the branches. You're out here defending yourself to people who wouldn't understand your calling even if God shouted it from heaven himself. Yes. They don't know the oil that's on your life. They don't know the cost of the anointing you carry. And here you are trying to explain yourself to people who were never meant to get the blueprint of your purpose. Stop giving them access. Stop giving them your emotions. Stop giving them your reactions. Because when you react, you reveal. You reveal where you're still wounded. You reveal what still bothers you. You reveal where the No, baby, we're not doing that anymore. We're not lowering our voice to match their noise. We're not stepping down from our peace to prove a point. Let them say what they want. Let them assume what they will. Let them misjudge, misunderstand, and mislabel. God knows the truth. And when God knows, that's enough. When Jesus stood before Pilate, falsely accused, misrepresented, lied on by the very people he came to save, he didn't react. He didn't clap back. He didn't perform for their approval, because silence can be louder than any speech. Sometimes silence is your weapon. It says, I know who I am. I don't need to defend it. My Father already justified me. That's the level of maturity I'm calling you to. A level where your identity isn't shaken by insult, where your assignment isn't delayed by offense, where the enemy can keep pressing until you snap, but when you stand still, when you stay silent, when you walk away with your head held high, you confuse the devil. You take away his favorite toy, your attention. Some people don't hurt you because of something wrong with you. They hurt you because of something right with you. Your peace irritates their chaos. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your purpose shines a light on their insecurity. They throw darts, not to win a battle, but just to make you look down long enough to miss the door God's opening in front of you. Don't let a distraction detour your destiny. You've got places to go, things to build, a generation depending on your obedience. And you're going to let them, the ones who don't even know who you really are, pull you into a fight that God already called you out. Strongest sermon. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. Because when you hold your peace, God steps in and fights battles you can't even see. So If you're tired of the cycle, if you're done giving your power to pain, if you're ready to grow beyond your enemies, lean in. Don't miss this. Because what I'm about to share with you might just shift the entire direction of your destiny. Let me tell you something. Every time you react to the people who hurt you, you are handing them something far more valuable than an answer. You are handing them your power, and you might not even realize it. Because the moment you let their emotions lead the conversation, the moment you let their anger sit in the driver's seat, you've allowed their action to determine your reaction. And now they're in control. You stepped up. Your spirit doesn't flinch every time someone throws shade in your direction. Because shade only matters when you step out of the light. Stay in the light. Stay in your calling. Stay in your peace. You don't owe anybody your reaction. You owe God your focus. There's something I need you to hear, not just with your ears, but deep in your spirit. Every reaction, every outburst, every emotional retaliation carries a cost. And if you're not careful, you will pay too much for something that was never worth it to begin with. You may think you're just defending yourself, just proving a point, just putting someone in their place, but sometimes you're actually stepping out of alignment with your destiny just to entertain a distraction. There are moments in life when the hurt is so sharp, so sudden, that everything in you wants to strike back. You feel like you can't breathe until you say something, can't move on until they know how much it cut you. But I came to tell you, not every fight is worth your future. Sometimes the greatest battles are won in silence, not in reaction, because your destiny is far too valuable to be compromised by your need to be right. You don't need to clap back to confirm your identity. You don't need to respond to every text, every post, every dig. You don't have to chase closure in the mouths of people who were never meant to carry your truth. There are people who hurt you who will never apologize, never acknowledge what they did, never make it right. And if you wait for their validation, you will delay your elevation. Some of you are holding up your next level. He also gives you the grace to outgrow what tried to kill you. But here's the thing, grace doesn't shout. Grace doesn't clap back. Grace doesn't argue. Grace walks forward. Grace keeps building. Grace says, I don't need to fix the lie. I just need to keep living in the truth. Because the truth will outlive the rumor. The truth will survive the slander. And the truth will protect your purpose better than your words ever could. Do not let your emotions write checks your purpose can't cash. Sometimes the greatest test isn't what they do to you, it's how you handle it. Will you respond with fire, or will you stay focused on the flame God put inside you? Because God will test your silence before he trusts you with influence. He will test how you handle insult before he releases impact. Some of y'all are asking for the throne, but you're still too reactive to sit in your seat. David was anointed to be king, but before he wore the crown, he had to walk through caves. He had to endure spears being thrown at him. And he had every chance to strike back at Saul, but he didn't. He said, I won't touch what God anointed even if it's trying to destroy me. That's not weakness, that's strength. That's maturity. That's destiny talking. God is trying to grow you up so he can take you up. But if you keep reacting to small things, you'll miss the big thing he's preparing you for. Some reactions feel good in the moment, but cost you momentum in the long run. Don't trade your future for 5 minutes of satisfaction. Don't lose your favor over a temporary feeling. Don't let a moment of heat cost you years of harvest. You're better than that. You're bigger than called you out of. You're asking God to promote you, but you're still stuck trying to prove something to people who don't even belong in the next chapter. You keep asking God, why is the door not opening? And he's saying, because you're too busy reacting to what I already told you to walk away from. Look at Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, thrown in prison, and when he finally got elevated, when he stood in power, he could have crushed him. He could have punished him, but he didn't. Because Joseph understood, my destiny is bigger than my pain. He didn't let the past poison his future. He didn't let the betrayal break his assignment. He stood in purpose, not pettiness. That's the difference between someone who is called and someone who is just reacting. When God gives you a vision of that, you've got too much oil on your life to keep stooping to every offense. Some things you got to learn to walk past, not because they didn't hurt, not because it didn't matter, but because your calling matters more. So the next time someone tries to pull you into drama, remind yourself, my reaction could delay my destiny, and I refuse to give up what God promised me just to prove I'm right. Let them talk, let them twist the story, let them walk away, but you keep walking toward the throne. You cannot heal if you're still trying to get even. You cannot rise while you're reaching back. You cannot move forward while your heart is still tied to the moment they broke it. Healing doesn't come through retaliation. It comes through release. I know you were hurt. I know they betrayed you. I know they took something from you you'll never get back. But if you keep rehearsing the wound, if you keep reacting to every trigger, if you keep feeding the pain with your attention, you are nurturing what God is trying to remove. You see, healing takes restraint. It takes power to stay silent when everything in you wants to scream. It takes strength to walk away when your pride wants to prove a point. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. That's the kind of maturity the world doesn't applaud, but heaven does. Because real healing isn't loud. Real healing doesn't have to be seen. It happens deep in the quiet places. When you say, I could react, but I won't. I could get revenge, but I choose peace. I could carry this bitterness, but I want my soul back. Some of you are still hurting because you never stopped fighting. You're still trying to win an argument with someone who's no longer in your life. Still trying to prove to them that you are worth loving. Still waiting on closure from people who don't even have the emotional capacity to understand what they did. But healing doesn't wait on their apology. Healing starts when you say, I will no longer give pain the pen to write my story. What they did hurt, but what you do next will define you. Pain is part of the process, but you don't have to live there. You don't have to keep building a house in a place God only meant to be a lesson. Some of you have been renting space in your spirit to trauma, giving your peace away to the memory of what happened. But I came to tell you, it's time to evict the pain of their words. You're healed as soon as you stop reacting like you're still hurting. There's a reason the enemy keeps using people to get to you. It's not always about who hurt you. It's about what you carry. It's about your assignment. It's about your future. He knows if he can't touch what God is doing in your life, he'll try to distract you so you never walk into it. And most of the time, he won't use obvious enemies. No, he'll use the ones close enough to get under your skin. The ones who knew your trust. The ones who knew your vulnerability. Because a wound from a stranger doesn't cut like a wound from someone you let in. The enemy isn't after your feelings. He's after your focus. If he can get you to stop building, stop praying, stop believing, stop obeying, he wins. And one of his favorite weapons was tearing open wounds that God is trying to close. You're digging in the dirt of what God already buried. Don't resurrect what you should have released. Let it go. Let them go. Not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve to wake up without the weight. You deserve to breathe without bitterness in your chest. You deserve to love again, trust again, dream again, but not if your hands are full of hurt. You can't pick up the future while clinging to the past. You can't climb while carrying the weight of old wounds. And you definitely can't be whole if you keep reacting from a place of brokenness. Because hurt people don't just hurt people, they sabotage themselves. They bleed on people who didn't cut them. They burn bridges they were supposed to walk across. And they build walls so high that even God has to wait for an invitation to come in. That's not what he wants for you. He didn't bring you through the fire just for you to still live like you're in the furnace. He didn't carry you through the darkest valley for you to pitch a tent in sorrow. He brought you through so you could walk in freedom. So you could show the world that pain doesn't get the final word. That trauma doesn't get the last say. That scars don't disqualify. They qualify you to speak healing over somebody else's life. But you can't minister from a place you haven't let God mend. So today, make a choice not to feel better overnight, not to pretend the pain didn't happen, but to stop reacting from it, to stop giving it space, to stop feeding what tried to starve you. You are not what they did to you. You are not the moment that broke you. You are not the echo. It means you forget. It means you remember without bleeding. It means you can see their name, hear their voice, even cross their path, and your soul doesn't tremble. That doesn't come from clapping back. That doesn't come from revenge. That comes from choosing to trust God with your wounds. Because only God knows how deep it went, and only God can reach that deep to make it whole again. You think they need to see you healed so they'll know they didn't break you? No. God will make sure they see it if you stop performing and start healing. You don't need to post about it. You don't need to drop hints. You don't need to prove anything. Your peace will be your testimony. Your joy will be your revenge. Your glow will speak louder than your grief ever could. But if you keep reacting, if you keep answering every offense, your conversation, one betrayal, one rejection, one misunderstood moment, and all of a sudden your eyes are off the vision and on the wound. You are climbing. You are making progress. You are moving in your purpose, and now you're stuck. Rehearsing what they said, replaying what they did, reliving the moment that threw you off. That's the trap. The distraction doesn't look like a distraction when it comes wrapped in the face of someone you love. But let me tell you something. Your elevation will require isolation from noise. That was never meant to follow you where God is taking you. There are some places God wants to bring you that demand your full attention. Not your split focus, not your divided heart. If you're going to walk in purpose, you can't stop every time somebody throws a stone at your peace. You can't keep explaining. Get yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You can't keep checking the opinions of people who are more committed to your downfall than your development. Jesus was surrounded by crowds, but he was never led by them. He loved them, but he didn't let them guide him. Because when you're truly called, you have to know how to keep walking when people start turning on you. You have to keep moving when the voices grow louder. You have to keep doing the will of the Father even when the people around you don't see it, don't like it, don't support it. And hear me, some of the hurt you've been through lately, some of the betrayal, the gossip, the silence from people you thought would show up is not punishment, it's preparation. It's God showing you who can go with you. It's God closing doors gently before you.